Hello and welcome along to the Perimenopause Hub. We are talking about fatigue, which is our focus of the month this month. And today we're talking to Debi Haden, who I will let introduce herself so that I get the right job title. And yes, we're going to talk about ways that you can manage fatigue with mindset and lifestyle changes, not through food and things, but much more through mindset. So Debi, I will let you introduce yourself.
Well, thank you for inviting me to have a conversation today. You know,
Thank you for arranging the sun.
Yeah, look at this. It's wonderful, isn't it? It'd be a different story if it was raining today.
Yeah.
I'm Debi Haden and I'm a life and business mindset coach. And one of the things I think I've realised over the last, say, 13 years that I've been working around mindset is that most things that we go through in life can be managed quite differently if we have the right mindset.
Absolutely.
And I think this is no different in that respect. Energy fatigue is can come with these symptoms, but what I tend to see quite a lot is that people may be not nurturing their energy in lots of different ways. So when it comes to mindset, for instance, what I always say to people is you've only got a finite amount of energy, and where you place your energy is quite important.
Yeah.
And whilst we sometimes think we have no control over that, we do. We have a control over how we think, who we spend time with, putting energy into things that aren't serving us. And what I mean by that, and as women we are brilliant at doing this, of doing things because we think we should, because we don't want to let other people down. And it's this whole thing where self-care becomes secondary to everything else with women particularly. So when it comes to energy in this time of our life, we have to become super protective.
Absolutely. And I suppose it's fair to say that an awful lot of women, when they're in this phase, so let's say primarily 40s into early 50s, a lot of women find themselves between two generations, don't they? So they find themselves caring for older parents, but they still have children at home, and they're still trying to work full time. And actually, before you even put anything else into the picture, that's a lot of a lot of take on your energy. And when your hormones are then, being arses, if I'm honest, for want of a better phrase, actually you have to be really, really guarding of that energy that you do have, don't you?
Absolutely.
So in terms of, I guess I'm going to look at this in different ways. So I suppose we want to talk about sort of time management, because I think that's quite important, and how to guard your own energy and how to work with your mindset. Those are the three I'm going to put to you.
Okay, no problem. If we look at how we use our time, nobody has less or more amount of hours in the day. And quite often people say to me, I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to that. What we're actually saying, if we look at our language, is we are choosing to do something different. We are making other things a priority.
Because we all, if we're honest, we all have time to look through Facebook, don't we?
Absolutely.
Which means we probably have time for other stuff.
The biggest lesson I learnt was using my iPhone to track how long I am on Facebook. And it was quite shocking, actually, how much time I found I could waste doing things that particularly weren't giving me and actually sometimes we can feel worse by doing some of those things, because we're particularly if we're going through a lower phase day, we can see other people doing all these things, having lots of energy, and it brings our mood down even more.
Absolutely. And I think just as an aside to that, if you're spending a lot of time on social media while you're feeling very low in energy, and you see other people are exercising and they're out and about and they're doing all these wonderful things, you can start to feel really lacking in life, really like you're missing out. And if you're low on energy, there's a significant chance that you're not exercising as much as you want to, so you might be eating more than you want to, so you might be feeling low in body confidence as well, mightn't you?
And that comes with a health warning, thinking like that, because I know from the work I've done over the last 13 years, often when we see people out and about doing all these things, they're actually running on empty.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what they're not doing often is listening to their body.
Yeah,
so
and burnout is huge.
Absolutely. So you
have
to be careful when you see, when you're brought down by people doing all these kind of mad things and whatever, tazzing here, there and everywhere, thinking, oh my God, I wish I had that energy. Actually, you might find they're on their way to burnout. So think very carefully how you translate that into your own mindset.
Absolutely.
But what I found with time is that, and it's really strange to say this, but my biggest learning for me about how I use my time has come from caring for my mum who's got dementia, in that I knew that if I didn't manage my time, I wouldn't be well enough to look after her.
Yep.
So in a way, I was given my get out card of saying to people, sorry, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to. I really analysed the groups I was attending for business. I looked at the social things I was doing, the people I was spending time with. All of these things went into the mix. And I made a conscious decision about where my time went.
Yeah.
And actually, less is more.
And saying no is huge, isn't it?
Absolutely. No one generally lives a life or death situation, but we behave as though we are. So the thought of saying no to somebody sometimes, you feel, oh my God, my world's going to end. These people will never speak to me again. But actually, if they don't, then you don't want to spend time with them anyway. Yeah. And you do have to really take a step back and decide where you want to place your energy.
Yes.
Yeah. Because once you start doing that, you realise you have got time to do the things that you need to do, but you're just putting it into the wrong places that for you, basically.
Yeah. Just an aside on the saying no thing, which is something that I've learned from my partner. You don't need to make an excuse.
No.
You can just say, I can't come. It's really powerful. It's really liberating.
It is, isn't it? And it's liberating standing back and saying, I don't want to do that anymore. Yeah. We get into habits sometimes thinking because we've been doing this, we have to keep doing it. No, we don't. We can actually stop things at any point and say, I'm not on this conveyor belt anymore of doing all of these things. And actually, for me now, standing still is one of the nicest things. Having time to think, having time to plan, just sit in the garden sometimes and be mindful. When you start to really evaluate your time, I've switched some of my Facebook time to go back to reading books.
Yeah.
And actually, that is one of my levelers, my reading again. So I think when we talk about managing time, there are lots of ways you can do that.
Yeah.
Energy, managing energy can be more problematic, as we were talking about earlier, in that if you are in a phase where your energy and your moods are very up and down, some days you don't know whether when you wake up you're going to be in a good place or have good energy.
Yep.
And what I tend to say to my clients, maybe have one or two things on your list that you really want to get done that day. If the others get done, it's a bonus. If they don't, you then don't feel guilty.
Yeah.
What a lot of people do is, if they wake up feeling very low in energy, they'll look at their to-do list and they'll look at their to-do list and then get completely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Instead of going, do you know what? Today, I'm not going to do those things. I'm going to rest. And tomorrow, I'll probably have the energy because I've rested today.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've learned to roll with my energy.
Yeah.
I've discovered generally when I'm better in the day, and I don't any longer feel guilty if I don't have energy. I will sometimes watch a film, I'll go out if I need to for a walk, anything other than sitting and just going over in my mind and building up the anxiety because you don't feel you can tackle some of those things.
Which obviously, we're both in the fortunate position of being self-employed, so we can structure our days a bit more fluidly. Do you have any advice for, I guess, more the mindset side of things for people who are working in an office and working in more structured a more structured life?
I think some of it is around getting help with certain things. So again, as women, we almost feel we have to do everything, you know. And I don't want to generalise here, but
however,
I'm going to. Sometimes men need to be asked, or partners need to be asked. You know, people aren't always mind readers. So I now will say to my husband, you know, I've got a full-on day today. I'm going to need your help, rather than getting to the end of the day and feeling annoyed because he didn't offer to help me. So I think it's maybe looking at the balance in your life and what you're doing and what support you're getting.
And the same goes for work colleagues, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
It's actually being upfront, and this is a massive part of what the hub is all about. Is that we talk about this. We stop it being a taboo. We stop it being that women. That people laugh at us when we start having hot flushes, or when we get a bit forgetful at times, or when we just simply can't find the word we're looking for. We're trying to get to the point where actually there's more of an understanding about that, and actually every single one of us can do that by saying, do you know what, today I am not firing on all cylinders. Today I need to delegate some of these things. Today I need your help with these things. I fully appreciate that in a lot of workplaces that is incredibly difficult to do, but this really brings us on to the mindset bit, doesn't it? Because I think if your mindset, and again, this is I'm not saying this is easy, but if your mindset is starting from a point of everything's too much, everything's on top of me, I'm drowning, it's very difficult then to ask for help. It's very difficult to see a way out, and the fatigue becomes all-consuming because you are fighting it, and your energy is becoming your lack of energy, and it's just a self-perpetuating cycle, isn't it?
It is, and I tend to find I get a lot of clients who come to me with overwhelm and fogginess.
Yeah.
And those two combined can almost paralyse you from doing anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you then do is you kind of like maybe start one thing, stop it, start another, you know. And so what I'll often say to people, even in a work situation, is write everything down, because if it's in a foggy space in your head, you're not going to be able to manage it anyway. Yeah. So get everything down on a list. And often we'll tell ourselves everything on that list is urgent. But actually, when we look at it, when we break it down, not everything on that list will be urgent. No. Things can be put off to another day. Things can be delegated. And with delegation, I know people really struggle with delegation, but in a work capacity, I always say to people, by delegation, you're actually giving someone else the opportunity to develop if you are delegating properly. Yeah. So by holding everything, if it helps you, by holding everything, you're actually stopping other people develop. Yeah. So that's one thing. It's get everything down on paper. Look at what help you might need with those tasks, and take back some control. I think that's the key thing. Take back of the control. One of the diagrams, and I'm happy to send this to you for the hub, is break it down into 3 categories if you're looking at an issue and you feel completely overwhelmed with it. So you've got control, no control, and influence. Okay. So with anything you're facing, put the different things under there, okay? For some things in a situation, like it might be something's got to be done by a certain time scale, there won't be, you won't have any control over it. It will be under the control. A lot of things you will have control over, and some things you can influence. What a lot of people put energy into, the things they can't control. Yes. So what I'm saying is, your energy goes into things you can change and things you can influence. Yeah. So if you can start thinking about that, it also helps your energy distribution. Yeah. The language you use is crucial as well.
We always get onto language.
Yeah, we do. Because if you wake up of a morning and you tell yourself you're tired and you're going to have a terrible day, do you know what? You are going to have a terrible day, because you will look, your mindset, your mind will look for opportunities to reinforce that through your day. Yep. Okay? So you might wake up feeling tired and you go, okay, I'm feeling tired, but it's going to be manageable. Yep. And these are the things I'm going to put in place today to make sure I manage it. Yep. I'm going to look after myself in whatever way I can. Even if it means, you know, if you're working full time, going out at lunchtime and getting some fresh air, having a break from your day.
Yeah.
Just doing any small thing that you can do to just alleviate what's going on for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the words you use are going to be really important as well. The word that comes to me so much is should. And we should over ourselves all of the time, you know.
And if there's a should in there, then you don't want to do it.
Absolutely. And again, I'm quite happy to share this with Hub members in terms of, you know, there's a little exercise I give people to look at where your motivational language is. And I can 99.9% tell you that very few people are motivated by the word should.
No.
And if you're not motivated by it, can you imagine what it's doing to you if every day you're saying, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, I should be doing that. If someone says the word should to me, I go the opposite direction.
Yeah.
I dig my heels in and I don't do it, and I have a physical reaction. So the words you use about you and your day and what you're going through will be absolutely crucial in this process.
Yes. And at this point, I'm just going to put an aside, as somebody who really, you know, does completely understand the fatigue thing. We are not for a second saying that by changing your language, you'll suddenly start leaping out of bed in the morning and the world will be a bed of roses. We're not saying that at all. What we are saying is that there are a lot of very, very small changes that you can make, that actually just by acknowledging them, even not even making the changes, but actually if you acknowledge that every day you put onto your to-do list all this world of things you should do, and funnily enough you never do them, or you sit and procrastinate over them, it's just looking at why do you think you should do them? What? Because should is an external source. Should never comes from in here. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Should always comes
driven
externally.
by other people to begin with.
So if you're feeling that your to-do list is a world of shoulds, then we kind of go back to the time management and the distancing away from negative influences and say, right, let's just try and unpack it a little bit further back and say, who's putting these shoulds on me? And actually, can I just say no? Can I just remove those? Or, if I want to do them, but they've put themselves in this box of should, can I change my language around them to I want to, or I will, or I am doing?
Yep.
And actually, even just by changing the language around it changes the energy around it, doesn't it?
It does, because, you know, we find ourselves in situations and we can't always change that particular situation. But what we can do is change the way we see it and how we feel about it. You know, and if you're going through this stage in your life and you're tired and having other symptoms, they're not nice, there's no doubt about it. But if you can work with them rather than fighting them in a way, then it's this whole thing about acceptance again, isn't it? It's about accepting that this is a new stage of your life, and you can put things in place around everything that Emily's talking about with the hub, but the whole mindset thing is going to be absolutely key. Because, let's be fair, some people believe that as you go into this stage and beyond and into after menopause, you know, it's a positive time in your life.
Absolutely. For some people, it's very much a chrysalis onto a butterfly,
Absolutely.
isn't it? And then for others, it feels like the chrysalis becomes a cocoon and becomes limiting, when for some, you know, and a lot of that is mindset.
Yeah. So there are a lot of things that you can do to take control when it comes to mindset. And, you know, as I said, I'm more than happy to share those with Hub members.
So, Debbie.
Yes.
Debbie lives in the Acceptance Hub because she's all about how you make this. That's where you live. And can work remotely with people, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can work with anyone, anywhere.
Anywhere in the world.
So if what Debbie's talking about sounds like something that you think would help you to manage your symptoms, to move through this phase in a more positive way, then we will share your details and point you to where Debbie hangs out in the hub. Thank you very much.
My
for your time.
pleasure, absolutely. Thank you.